So I just got a comment from a student of mine about getting involved in sync licensing, and it was a really interesting comment, and I understand the sentiment that was behind it, but I want to kind of dive into that comment and what it means, and also a couple of different ways to think about it. Okay, so the comment was, well, Jesse, this kind of sounds interesting getting into sync licensing. However, it basically sounds like you're going to be forced to do a whole bunch of work that you really don't want to do. Because when I'm always talking about servicing your clients, some people start to associate that phrase with, oh, you mean like a day job? You mean basically serving the needs of your boss or other people or customers or something like. You mean we all associate serving sometimes, especially with some of the day jobs that we've had, with doing things you really don't want to do. So the comment, I understand where it's coming from in terms of it just doesn't sound like you get to make every kind of track you want to make or just make the music you want to make. And it sounds like you just constantly have to do a bunch of crap that you really don't want to do. And he said, yeah, it sounds like you could probably do really well. But then at the end of all that, where is your creative soul at that point if you're just doing a whole bunch of work you don't really want to do? So I want to dive into that a little bit because there's actually a couple of things he had right about his sentiment there, and I want to dive into what those things are so that you guys are aware that I've been in this industry 11 years now, so I'll tell you exactly what he got right about that there are going to be times where you're going to do things you don't really want to do. But in the end, it's all 100% worth it. My opinion, of course, and my experience. I have no regrets about getting involved in this business, but I want to give you guys a little bit of this wisdom as you are getting started in the industry so you know what lies ahead, okay? So what did he get right? Well, he is right that it is work, right? It's still a job. It's still a gig. It's still something you have to do, okay? People are not just going to throw money at you because you have musical skills. You have to deliver something, okay? So you have to deliver licensable tracks. You have to deliver stems, alt mixes, sometimes metadata, and you got to do things on time and in a deadline fashion, okay? If you're not doing those things, that's probably why you're not seeing a lot of placements or you're not seeing a lot of acceptances from libraries yet. And sometimes and oftentimes that is really hard work. It's not easy. Okay, this is not, and I hope I haven't misrepresented this industry by telling you guys that like, oh, it's so easy. Just put a couple of tracks together and throw it to a library. I don't think I've ever said that or even led you guys down the path to even believe that that's how it really works. It's really not like that. Okay. You do have to know what you're doing in terms of you have to make really high quality tracks. They have to be useful for the people that you send to. And you got to partner with really good high quality libraries too. And be in constant communication with them and build your brand with them. Okay, this has been something I've been harping on for so long. So I think you guys understand that it does take work and it's hard work. It's not easy. That's why you probably don't know many people that do this full time. Okay, I only know a handful of producers that I personally contact and know that do this full time. I know a lot of people that have jumped into it for a while and then they jump right out of it. They get involved for a couple of months or maybe a year and they don't see all the results they wanted that quickly, and so they end up doing something else. So you have to make that your own choice for yourself, how long you can commit and what your long-term goals are and all that kind of stuff. We're not going to get into that in this video. So he was right about that. Not easy, takes work, okay? Sometimes, the other thing he got right about that, you will be asked to make music when you don't feel like making music, okay? You might just have an off day, and you're just not feeling creative, you're not feeling excited, and you might get an opportunity and an offer from one of your libraries to say, hey, we need a custom job done by the end of the day. Happened to me many times. One of my jobs, I remember, was 4 dubstep cues by the end of the day. Got it done, barely, but really, really difficult. And that was one of those days where I don't know if I was particularly feeling like making 4 tracks in a day. I just got the email first thing in the morning, made sure I went and brewed some really strong coffee and had multiple cups of it and just said, this is what I'm going to do today. And I just put myself in the mood and just started being productive. So sometimes you're going to have to force yourself to get in the mood, whatever you got to do for that, right? Sometimes I find that just getting an opportunity with a really good chance of getting the placement or getting a custom job and having some upfront sync fees or something like that, that's pretty much all I need to get in the mood, right? If I'm not seeing any sort of like immediate benefit to my work, it's hard to get in the mood. But if it's like, hey, we need these tracks by 5 o'clock because it's going to get pitched to this show and you can get placements literally in like a couple of weeks here, yeah, I get excited about that. Or if there's going to be a sync fee, $3,000, $5,000 or something coming my way, potentially if I land the custom queue, whatever it is, pretty excited about that. Not hard to get in the mood, okay? But yeah, there will be times where it's just like a job where you have to just, you go into work sometimes, right? And you're groggy, your brain is in a fog, but you got an important meeting that day, you got an important project you're going to wrap up. Well, you got to figure out how to get it done. Okay, so that's one thing you certainly will have to do. Uh, Sometimes you will be asked to produce or compose in genres that maybe you're not very familiar with, you don't really know that well, or maybe you're not that excited about it, okay? Maybe you're a rock producer, but one day your library says, hey, we need something that really has a hip hop foundation, but with some rock elements on top. Can you try to knock something out for us? Maybe you've never really liked hip hop, you've never produced it, it's just something out of your wheelhouse, but that might be a day where you got to get comfortable with it. You got to go listen to some music real quick, get some reference tracks, go find some great samples, some drums, and really try to learn a little bit about how to produce at least a really well-crafted hip hop beat, so you can throw your guitar tracks on top. So that's happened to me so many times, and there are many genres where I'm like, create like a Americana country orchestral track. Okay, I'll give it a shot. I've had some of those opportunities where I really never did Americana country at all. I've done some orchestral stuff, but then trying to find, great samples and layering it all together, it was not an easy thing. Just as like, oh, no problem, I've done this a million times. No, I had to kind of go back to school and learn about how to do this stuff. And this is why in Sync Academy, we have pretty much every licensable genre you can think of for how to produce them, how to structure them, how to craft them, mix and master all of them. So if you're in a pinch like that, that's one thing that Sync Academy really has helped out a lot of members to just, how do you put together a really hard-hitting hip-hop track? We have tutorials on that, okay? So certainly, you're going to have to be challenged in this industry to go into these different directions that you're not really that comfortable with. So at the end of all of that, could you say that's a lot of work you really don't want to do? I guess you could probably classify some of that way. But here's what I want to get across to you guys. All of that hard work that is challenging, that is sometimes outside of your expertise, that sometimes you don't feel like doing it, all of that is what makes this industry worth it, okay? Sometimes to grow, actually all the time, I take that back, not sometimes. In order to grow and develop and progress as a musician, as a producer, you've got to be challenged, okay? You can't just keep making the same tracks, the same music, the same style, the same formula year after year after year and think you're going to be progressing and getting better at it. I can tell you every single time that I was pushed to do something like those 4 cues in a day, going outside of my genre expertise, going out to different genres I wasn't that comfortable with, hitting deadlines that I was like, I don't even know if I can do that. Having deadlines and being sort of forced to push myself in new ways has made me a much stronger producer, musician, more capable, more competent, right? That's at the end of the day what all of this will start to develop in you, is a sense of confidence that you are competent. You are a competent sync licensing producer, that you can nail deadlines. You can be challenged to try things. You can really go above and beyond what you think you can do, and you can nail it, because once you've sort of mark that yes column on, yes, I knocked this out, I got this done, I got those 4 tracks done, I nailed this hip hop rock track that I didn't know if I could do, but it actually got accepted and it got onto their library and got the placement. This is what builds confidence in you as a producer and as a musician. So if you're scared of being challenged like this, if you don't want to push yourself and be pushed by the people that you work with to see if you can really achieve these things that might seem a little almost impossible in the beginning, maybe this is not an industry for you. I will tell you that you will be pushed and you will be challenged. But the only point that you will get to, or the only way that you'll get to that point of feeling rewarded and deep joy and satisfaction from your work, is you got to be pushed. You got to be challenged, and you got to do things that you didn't think you could actually get done. If it was that easy and super easy, there would be no joy and no satisfaction from working in this industry. And I certainly wouldn't be doing this for 11 years if it was literally as simple as, all right, couple of tracks, couple of beats, here you go. No creative input or no thought or no challenge or real obstacles in my way. If it was that easy, I mean, if those of you that are gamers and you play video games, if you've played a really easy video game, how long does that keep you engaged? No time at all. You throw it down, you're like, this sucks, it's too easy. Same time, if it's too challenging, which I don't think this industry is, sometimes it might feel like that in the beginning, but if something is way too hard, you also give up because you're like, I'm not even making progress. So this is why I've always told you guys that, yeah, in the beginning, it can feel very challenging, like you're bumping your head up against the wall, getting rejected, not feeling like your tracks are meeting the standards of the industry. I totally get all that. This is why it's so important to count your successes and measure your success in small little steps, okay? Don't think that, well, I just learned about how to make licensable tracks, I should have licensable tracks in 48 hours. That's an unrealistic expectation to put on yourself, okay? Maybe you should just think about, how do I get my kick to land a little bit harder in my tracks? How do I get my guitars to feel a little bit more lifelike? How do I get my mixes to kind of spread out a little more stereo? Or how do I get my mixes just to be louder? Right now they're just super quieter. Right now they're blowing out. Everything's compressed compared to the other tracks out there that I'm hearing. So one little tiny thing at a time. And even if in that one tiny little skill that you're trying to accomplish, if you just get 10% better at it in a day or even in a week, celebrate it. Give yourself a treat. Post about it. Talk to your friends and family about it. Give yourself those sort of those thumbs up. Give yourself a pat on the back. No shame in that. In fact, I think it's mandatory. You definitely need to be doing that, celebrating your little wins along the way so that you can see this progress as you move along. And that's how you're going to get to the point where you feel this competence, this confidence, this feeling of, I can do it. I know that there's going to be challenges in front of me. I know sometimes I'll feel like maybe I can't. But look at what I've already gone through. Look at how far I've come in this industry already. Look at how far I've come in my production, my mixing and mastering skills, my knowledge of how to make licensable music, my knowledge of just the industry as a whole. Look how far, probably you can think about right now watching this video, how far you've come from maybe when you first heard about sync licensing. I don't know if it was from one of my videos or whenever you heard about it. Think about how much more of an expert you've become in this industry just in the short time that you've learned about it. This is what you need to continue on moving forward. So it's worth it. It is going to be work. It's going to be hard work. It's going to be challenging. You're going to want to give up from time to time. You will certainly want to throw in the towel and walk away from your music and from your career. It's going to happen. So I'm just going to let you guys know that it's happened to me so many times. But it's worth it. That's all I can tell you. It is absolutely worth it if you can persevere and push through and get to that next spot. So that's what I want to share with you guys today. Please leave your comments below. I want to know, have you guys felt these points of absolute, feeling like it's, I don't know if this is really the industry for me, and I don't know if this is really going to work out. I really want to know your guys' stories, where you are in your careers and how that's working out for you. One of the biggest things that I think that my channel here on YouTube does provide for producers is a sort of just kick in the butt when you need it. I think that's one of the biggest things that my videos have really done for most producers. Just the fact that I've been where you are, right? I'm not a newbie to this industry. I've been into all kinds of highs and all kinds of lows in this industry. And so it's really more the highs, those really carry you forward. You don't need to be coached through those. Those are great. Those really push you through the industry for months or even years afterwards when you get big placements and big acceptances. But it's the lows. Those are the points where if you're not in this industry, you just don't know what that really feels like. It's a very unique feeling to be in this industry, to get disappointing royalty checks or get rejected by a music library or just feeling like, I don't think I'm good enough. That's a big thing that a lot of producers I know in this business, especially starting out, feel. So, go easy on yourself, all right? Make small progress every single day and be prepared. There will be challenges, there will be work ahead of you, but in the end, it's all 100% worth it.